So we have quite a few things getting set up before we'll be able to start right into our meeting. But there's updates I want to give you, there's a board I want to clear off, and there's just welcomes I want to say. Hello everyone, thank you for making it. I appreciate you coming. Please help yourself to drinks. We do have time set aside in our agenda for a break because we have a lot of discussion on numbers today. And I know whether you're like me and you just love that idea, you're like, I want to talk about budget all day, or you're like, I'm going to sleep and I hate talking about numbers. Whoever you are, we have time planned for you. But cool, thank you for making it. I hope everyone got an agenda. We have more. Right here, I can pass this down. Raise your hand if you don't have one and you want one. Forever hold your peace. So what? Take yours. Thank you. Got this for you. We have a lot more documents that we'll be passing out, but it's going to take just a second. Just got one. Because we have 3 extra allocation requests that we're going through today. And I'm sure you're a little bit worried, but we're setting it up. Sorry, we don't have a sign-in sheet in paper right now, but we're setting one up on a laptop, or we're going to send something around that you can sign. That way we can get our sign-in sheet going. Is the laptop already going around? Is it? Nice. Okay, already set. Laptop's coming around. You're just going to sign in your name, your org, and we will be set. So I wanted to start off this meeting before we jump right into numbers, because I know you're all super excited for that. I wanted to give you some updates from just the last collaborative, what Student Alliance has been working on. But if you made it to our last collaborative, you know we had a presentation from IT. It was really fun. They gave us just to talk about the digital signage on campus and about advertising for clubs, for the school in general, and just how advertising works. Then we had a breakout table where my 3 wonderful directors each ran a table and held discussion on a certain topic. One was on that digital signage, and we sent those suggestions to IT. The other was on the student leadership banquet, which is exactly what I want to talk about here and give you some updates about, because I'm really excited. Again, if you don't have it in your calendar, remember these words: March 29th from 5:30 onwards, student leadership banquet. We're planning on having the doors open at 5:30, so you're going to be able to go in, start sitting down, getting your favor, finding your table, stuff like that. And the event probably won't start until around 6:37. There's a few things that we're planning still and we're in the works about the student leadership banquet. One, of course, is a keynote speaker. If you've been keeping up with me, you've known I'm super stressed because I was trying to find a keynote speaker last minute for the banquet. I had someone suggested. We already booked him for another event that's going to be on the same day as the banquet. We just weren't sure if he was our keynote speaker. And we ended up deciding against it because we want to go for someone who's an alum at the college, someone we can relate to more, someone that I feel like really drives the message home that I want at this banquet that me and Bree are planning. So we're still looking into options there. But this keynote speaker is going to be giving a wonderful workshop on the 29th of March, the same day as our banquet. It's going to be at 10 a.m. It's going to be at 1 p.m. And this is a leadership workshop. It's a workshop that we got to experience when we went to DC for the American Student Government Association conference. And this will be really, really fun. It's not going to lead into the banquet in any sort, but I do encourage you to go to that if you're also going to the banquet. Or if you're not going to the banquet because you just can't make it that night, you have something coming up, please experience that in the morning. It'll be a wonderful time. All right, the last update I really need to give about the student leadership banquet is, and I'm sure you're all very much aware and you're working on your nominations right now, I don't even have to say it, but nominations. Please, 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 please nominate yourself, because all of you are leaders. There are 5 individual awards given out at the student leadership banquet through Student Life. They're all leadership awards. They're given out for different types of leadership, whether you've just been an active leader and making sure everyone's feeling comfortable and welcome and involved on your campus and you're staying engaged and you're hosting events. There's other ones for like your specific focus on diversity or your specific focus on inclusion or your specific focus on increasing membership. There's different types of ones there. I encourage you to apply for multiple if you feel like you meet that. Or if you don't feel like you meet that, do it anyways, because you got this. You're all wonderful people. There's 2 student org awards. One of them's the best student organization of the year. There's a lot of categories that can make you win this, so don't feel like just because you're not the biggest or just because you don't host the most events that you can't win it, because you absolutely could. Apply for that one, and then of course there's new student organization of the year. So I encourage you to think about what the new organization you've heard about the most is, and nominate them, even if you aren't a member of that one. Last one, because there's a total of 8 and I've given you 7. The last one is best event program, or I think it just says event program of the year. There's one more word there, but that's fine.
Project.
Maybe, yeah. Event program project of the year. And you can nominate your event, even if it's not, even if it hasn't happened yet. And I'll give you an example of something that's coming up that's real big, and that's cosplay day. It hasn't happened yet, but it's coming up. I know it's being worked on, and of course everything else that already has happened, because we're 75% of the way through our semester or our school year already. You can nominate any of these events for that one. Why am I telling you all of these? Why am I going in so much detail? Well, that's because tomorrow's the deadline. Friday, the 23rd, 5 p.m. is kind of their cutoff date. If you submit it at 5:01, that's okay, don't tell them, but they'll accept it.
It's closed. It closes at 5:01.
Please get your nominations submitted. They're through OrgSync. If you haven't found them, you've been living under a rock, because I've been telling you this over and over. But they are on OrgSync. They're on Student Life's page, and you can do the form straight from Student Life's page. Otherwise, if you go to forms at the top of any club portal, you will see the form on there as well. All right, I think that's it. I'll give you some brief updates after our conversation at the CAB meeting today about the banquet. We are thinking of going forward with the dance. We got a lot of really good suggestions about that at our last meeting, and we got a lot of people just saying, do it, it'll be fun, I'll go. So we're gonna plan that. Look forward to it. All right, now that you've heard me talk and you've heard my voice start to go out already, let's get started on the next things coming up. I don't wanna take too much of ISO's time because I know they're on a time limit, but we are going to be starting with an extra allocation request from ISO. So before we invite you guys up to talk about that, I don't want to throw you right into it. KZ, our wonderful operations director, is going to be giving you guys an update on the budget. He's going to be telling you a few key points, and we'll get rolling. Do you want to take over, KZ? Let me help out with this.
No, he's gonna talk first.
Here, say hello. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
Hello everyone. You look very tired, right? All right, so just wait so that I can show you how much we have now in our extra allocation budget, because we have 3 allocations, right? So you need to know how much we have. So. Okay, I can start. So, each year we allocate some fund for the student for all the activities here on the campus, right? This year we increased it a little bit, and we allocated 50,000 for the entire year, so which means for the fall and winter. We allocated 25,000 for the fall and 25,000 for the winter. So if you can look on the budget, the leftover for the fall was around 3,000, and let me see if I can have the exact number. It's $3,851.08. So that's the leftover, and we rolled it to the winter, and on the winter we had 25,000 plus the leftover, which was the amount that I've said there, the 3,851, And now for the winter, we started with, can you go down? Oh, no. All right. Yep, so that's the amount that we started with this winter, because we've had two requests this winter. One was for standouts, or one, I guess. Yes, we have one from standout, only that one. I did write it this way because first we denied it, and people will come after as they need to know that we denied it first, then we approved it later. So, and the amount that they were asking was this one, $3,708.14, but the amount approved was $4,028.14. So and also I left a note there so that the people will come. If they want to check out, they will try to read and they will know what we did. So that's how we did it. Any question about the budget?
Why is there a difference between those two numbers?
What?
Why is there a difference between the amount of money that they requested and the amount of money that was allocated?
They actually just had
Okay, so you're asking for this difference between the number that was approved and the one that we.
Yeah.
Okay, so the difference. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, if you remember when we approved the standout allocation, at the meeting of, we increased the amount that we were giving them for food. So that's why that changed on there. And the total cost is what we bumped it up to, that 4,000 mark, but what they originally requested. That's where that 3,000 came, because we filled that in early.
Yes. Yep. So any other question? All right, so I think we are going to move to the ISO request, right?
Yep. So if ISO wants to come up here, we'll get you cut up, and then Izzy will run you through just the time requirements that you have. Everyone gets the same thing when you're presenting.
So are you just gonna pull it up?
Yes. Do you
Okay.
have a PowerPoint that you would like us to pull up for you? I do have, Tatum or Caitlin, could you pass out the ISO? Yes. Either pass it around or pass it out, please. I printed out all of those for you. You can grab one for her if you want to announce it. That's it. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same one.
All right, so we are going to start, and they are requesting $3,888. They want to go to Virginia for an international student conference, and they are here. They're going to introduce themselves and present. Let us know why you want to go there, how important is that meeting, and you will break down your budget and everything. I just want to remind you about the rules. So we have 5 minutes for your presentation. You don't have to present in 5 minutes. You can present for 5 minutes or less. Then we also have 5 minutes for questions. So it's your turn, Cora.
Good afternoon, everyone. So ISO, which we're the International Student Organization, so a proposal that we wanted to propose today was going to a conference. So this conference is called Where the Lines Are Drawn. So the keynote speaker is Megan Phelps Rope. So Megan, she grew up in the Westboro Baptist Church. So it's a group infamous for its intolerance. But dialogue on Twitter showed her that another life was possible. And in 2012, she escaped her home, family, and faith. Now, with a popular TED Talk, a major New Yorker profile, and an upcoming memoir and film adaptation, she is a unique example on how empathy can overcome hate and how tolerance can bridge ideology. So we wanted to talk about, okay, let's pull this up. So you guys have the budget in front of you guys. So this conference would be for 6 people in total. So the dates that we were looking at was March 14th through the 18th. So we had a Washington stay, which would be 2 nights. It would total for $700 for 2 rooms. So the way we were doing that is, of course, having the girls with the girls and then the guys with the guys. And then we would have our advisor in her own room for that stay. And our conference is in Virginia. But since the conference, I'm not sure if you guys know, Virginia, it's going to be in a small town, so it is in the middle of the mountains. So the closest and cheapest thing that we could find was flying to Washington, D.C., and then it would be a 2-hour drive to our conference in Virginia. So with airfare, we had a total of $1,770, of course, hoping that the airfare can stay cheap, hopefully pretty soon so it doesn't switch up. So with the car rental that you guys see on here, it'll be for a total of 5 days with $375 in total. So for gas and transportation in DC, we had $120. And things that would be coming out of pocket for ISO is we would be paying for our own food. So our total budget, so the total request would be $3,888. Thank you, Leslie. I think we're pretty much set. If you guys have questions. Yeah, so if you guys have questions
All right, so
for us.
time for questions now. Is there any question about pediatrics? Go ahead.
For fundraising, what have you guys done for fundraising?
Yeah, so ISO, we do have a fundraising budget that we have, and things that we're looking at is, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the Van Andel Arena, but they have options for students to go do things, usually within the concession stand, so that's something we're working on, hopefully if we can have something coming up with an upcoming show. But we also have our fundraising that we've done over the years. It's a budget set aside for that as well. And we're still continuing to try to plan things for the future, for this upcoming.
Go ahead.
So what are the dates of the conference?
The dates, we have, it'll be March 15th, so it'll be 15th to the 18th? To the 18th.
So the
Yes.
conference is 3 days?
Yes. So this would be what we have is the Wednesday to Sunday. So then our conference would be from Thursday to Sunday.
So where are you going on Wednesday?
Our Wednesday. So we were planning to use that. If you want to talk a little bit about what we were planning to use for our Washington. So for the flights, we couldn't find anything that would be outside or earlier than 12 p.m. on the day. So we were planning to use that day so that the next day we can explore Washington for a little bit. And you want to talk a little bit, Art?
The main point going to the Washington is because, speaking for myself, I come from a small country with little opportunities, and coming to United States, it was a huge decision. And I came here about 2 years ago, almost, and I've never really had an opportunity to travel around the United States and see the culture. And being an international student in the United States, it's very interesting for me, and it's a huge chance to see where the law is made, how it is passed, and learn about the leadership in the United States, and just go to free museums and bring that information to our conference, and bring the information that we get out of conference in those museums, bring it to GRCC and talk about it here, about the hate, and just try to connect it all and bring it to GRCC community and talk about it here.
Any other question?
I'm so not done. Anyone else have any questions? So from my understanding, the conference is in Virginia, and you're asking for 2 additional nights outside of Virginia.
Yes.
And those 2 nights, you don't have a schedule, you don't have an itinerary, that's just you guys in Washington, D.C.?
So what we were having, it's going to be on the Wednesday night, if I'm sure. So it'd be Wednesday night, and then we would be driving off to Washington on that Thursday. So it'll be for, yeah, that one night. Yeah. I'm confusing.
Hi, I'm their advisor, Katie, and I know they're nervous. So in looking at airfare, we really can't get into DC early enough on the day the conference starts in order to get into DC, get our bags, get a rental car, drive 2+ hours or whatever DC traffic is going to be at that time, and get over to Virginia. So we would need a night, an extra night anyway, just because it wouldn't work. So in looking at, and again, DC is the cheapest place to fly in. In looking at that, one of the reasons we chose to look at a conference is because while GRCC's had good leadership, it's really not, or leadership training for students, it really doesn't hit all the factors we need. As an international student group, we've got some unique things that are going on with our students, and so this is a specific international leadership conference. It's also the first time ISO has ever asked for allocation in the first conference they would be going to. In looking at the extra day in DC, part of that is you guys, for most, and I'm making an assumption, you guys have, for the most part, grown up in our government, understand how we kind of work. As a leader in a student organization, it's helpful to kind of look at how the U.S. runs and how we all work. As an international student, they may be coming, or any international student may be coming from a variety of backgrounds, government systems. So having an extra day to explore our government, and while we don't have enough time to get into the White House because we have to go through senators and each country individually, we want to try and go in and check out the Capitol. We want to tie in with the Holocaust Museum. So looking at our keynote speaker, which Monica talked about, looking at racism and hatred, international students face that a lot too. Depending on where you're from or what you look like, they can deal with a lot of different issues. So being able to bring something like that back to the campus community is one of the things that we looked at, trying to tie in and being able to pull on that wealth of knowledge that we have at DC all for free. And so that was part of looking at, for one additional night, we could do all of that other stuff for free. And they would be in charge of their own expenses, their own food, all of that for that day.
Okay, so I want to just add something. We have food there and people are not eating, so make sure you get something. I ordered it so that you can eat. So if you don't eat, next time we'll not order food. So we just come in, we don't eat. So yes. Okay, so that was the last question because we are running out of time. So I motion that we move to the voting. Thank you for your presentation. You can sit. Who's going to second me?
Anyone can second.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So you can sit. You can sit.
I know Kizzy invited you to go get food. We'll encourage everyone to get up and go grab some of that right after we finish this voting. Thank you, ISO, for coming up and presenting with a few of your members. I appreciate it. The one thing I felt like needed to get touched on that they didn't mention is just the total participation, like the students that are going. Six students are going, one advisor, in case you didn't see that at the top of your page. All right, so the only thing left, if you're not familiar with how we do voting here, right now it's a show of hands. That's how it's been for the last 2 semesters. So I will first do a vote of approval, and if you're in approval, you'll just raise your hand quietly, let one of my directors count how many hands we have up, and then we'll move on to a vote of denial. If you're not in approval for whatever reason it may be, you can just raise your hand, and we'll count that as well, and then we'll tally up. Pretty straightforward, nothing too complicated. All right, thank you, everyone. So without further ado, all those in favor of approving ISO's request, please raise your hand at this time. We'll count those requests. Can Tatum or Caitlin let me know when you're done? Keep them raised. Thank you very much. What was that?
I said, I don't know if I can ask a question right now, but does the group raise their own hand?
Yeah,
You can vote for your own request.
okay. Okay.
Sorry to make you all stand like this. I can't raise my hand and vote because I'm the president, but I'll do it with you. All set? Okay, thank you, everyone. So we have a vote, or a tally. All those not in favor of approving ISO's request and would like to deny it at this time, please raise your hand at this time. Okay, thank you. There's a few things that this means. It means first that we are done with our first extra allocation request and everyone can go get food. The second is that you guys will be going on your conference. I'm very excited for you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful time and that you're able to really pull the most out that you can from this conference. Please continue to talk with us about any forms that you may need to submit. I know we gave you a few suggestions when we were reviewing it at the e-board, but you guys really had a lot of that already prepared. We just need to make sure you're ready for the day of the conference. You have a few weeks.
Thank you.
Thank you. They deserve it. It's nerve-wracking giving your first extra allocation request, like presenting in front of people that you know but you don't really know. What if they're judging me for wearing a PTK shirt, wearing the same shoes? So our next extra allocation request is going to be from Psi Beta. If you're not familiar, Psi Beta is our psychology honor society on campus. I'm sorry, but I'm not actually familiar. Is there anyone who's a representative from Psi Beta at this meeting right now? Unfortunately not. That's a bit surprising, sort of, because they are an academic club, so we wouldn't usually see them at these meetings. We do hope that they'll come in and give these presentations for when they're doing these requests. And in these situations, it's probably just reviewing the actual extra allocation request we have from them, discussing it as a group and going to a vote, or tabling it and redoing it. Could you pass that around, Tatum? We have one more paper for you guys for this request. It's a smaller request than the last one. Bree, can I actually get one of those so I can read off some important stuff so we're not just kind of sitting around? So they requested money, which we talked about and approved at our e-board last week. This is for the Midwest Psychological Association Conference. This is a conference I know they went on last year and they have gone for a few years now. It's a smaller group that is going to these type of things because they're an honor society and they're a smaller academic club. But their attendance this year around was supposed to be 5. They requested $1,875 total for this. And the main expenses, as you'll see on the full breakdown when you read through it, are going to be the conference fee. They're taking a train because this conference is going to be in Chicago. They're staying in a hotel in Chicago, and then that ended up being $1,440 with their hotel fees. So that's pretty much most of their $1,800. And then they have food for the 3 days, and that's it. That's all their breakdown for money. Something I actually, before I go in and kind of do like a makeshift 5-minute presentation for them, I want to first have discussion on this, but I want to make a motion to table this. Something that I talked about at the e-board is when we approved this, we thought they were very fiscally responsible, like they're not requesting a lot of money, they're taking a train to Chicago, which is probably the cheapest option for them, and they planned ahead. This is 2 months away, over 2 months away, so they have time. But they didn't send a representative to our e-board at all, and if you know me at this point, that hurts. I love that communication. I love talking about these types of things and seeing where we can help, and it's frustrating when we don't have that steady communication to plan these types of things out with them and see why we're giving you these opportunities, what you're going to get from it, and kind of share in your excitement. That's what I really love enjoying, is hearing someone give a presentation because they want to go to this conference. It means so much to them, and they're telling me about it, and I'm just like, yes, I support you fully, go for it. So I guess I just need is there any second to motion to tabling for that?
I second that motion.
Thank you. Would anyone like to motion to discuss, so we can discuss about this before we go on? Is there any discussion that people want to, or just like questions you want to say for now? Okay, so this request is going to get tabled to, we'll talk about it at our e-board next week, but it's still approved, so it'll come back at our collaborative in March. If you're not familiar with our schedule, we don't have a meeting during spring break. That would just be chaotic. We have a meeting after spring break, March 15th, I believe it is. That's going to be our next open meeting. That's our collaborative. Put it on your calendars. So I was actually planning on giving you guys a break after the 2 extra allocation requests because these take a bit of time. And this is the time to go get food. So take 5. Please grab food. I don't want any waste. It all just goes in the trash, and that's not what we should be doing at an environmentally friendly school.
So we are back to our business again, and hello. Yes, we are back. We are back to our business. We have this very good extra allocation request here that I'm going to tell you about. And before I start, because it's not going to be like too much stuff to talk, because it's something that we all know. We did discuss about it on our last collaborative meeting, and it was very, like everyone, it looks like everyone supported it. So one thing that you need to know, you guys gave us our positions as students to represent you guys, to advocate for you. So the main job, our main job is to advocate and make sure that the funds, the money that we have, we use it very responsibly, right? So that's why we decided to submit this extra allocation request, which is only 2,000, and this money will be contributing to the scholarships here. So we'll be like contributing to the scholarship foundation board, so that they can use it to help students, not us. I will not be here because I'm leaving. People who will benefit from it are the ones that are returning students and yes, returning students and the new student here at GRCC. So which means we are trying to make that we leave the money to be used in a very good way, you see. So that is one of our main goals. So what you can see, last year we didn't do something like this because we just left the money. We didn't try to leave it in a good way. So we are blaming ourselves. I was in the board last year, and we left some money, and it wasn't very good. So this year we are trying to correct it. Something like this was approved again 3 years from now. So 3 years ago, it was approved again. They did it, so we are trying to do it again so that we can help students, you see.
Adding on to what Casey was saying there, yeah, last year there was a lot of rollover funds from just the student activities fee. Whether it was rollover from clubs not spending their own budget and the extra allocation, it was kind of a combination of all of it. But there was a lot of rollover that came over that didn't get spent on students at the time.
So this fund, we'll use some of our own funds because we have our student allowance budget. So this is just a part of it. We want to contribute to it. We want to add to it because, you know, the other fund, we use it for food, and even though you are not eating now, but we use our own budget to bring you guys food here, you see. So we don't want to waste that money. That's why we want to use it very responsibly. So something else. Okay, this money will be it will be deposited in the discretionary scholarship fund, which is the scholarship that help students in need. So let me explain it a little bit. There are students who are subject to apply to so many loans to pay their tuition fee here at GRCC, right? So it will be helping the students who are to apply to so many, to like some very big amount of loan. So it will be supporting them. So that's what the discretionary scholarship fund is. I think, have you been tracking time?
Yes, Caitlin is.
All right.
Started this a
So,
little bit late. I didn't realize we were getting right into it, but yeah. A minute, you said. Then something I want to add on, it's just because I encourage you to read through the paper that I gave you because there's a lot of information here about why we're doing this. But this is for ScholarFest 2018. It's a sponsorship that was done 3 years ago and 2 years before that, where Student Alliance and the open meetings that Student Alliance was holding, they all voted to give this essentially sponsorship to the ScholarFest, which will give all of this money to that event, which goes to the foundation, which is in the college. The foundation is using this money for their discretionary scholarship fund, which is just bringing more, as Casey said, it's giving more to the students by creating more scholarships for them. I just wanted to touch on that because it wasn't explained. Casey was giving you all the reasons about why we're doing this and how our budget's looking for it. I didn't hear you mention it, but we are using a lot of our Student Alliance budget. As a student government, we get a lot of budget, which I feel like it really comes down to the e-board to figure out innovative ways and to challenge themselves to spend this money appropriately and to spend it on current students. I feel like it's also a challenge of the Student Alliance or the student government to try to find ways to use this money to influence a campus in a meaningful, lasting way. I feel like they should make a change on campus that stays. So I'll give you an example. Last year, they renovated the Club Hub, and that's not a change that affected just students that year. It went on for the next year and the next year, and it's still here, and it's going to be here for a long time, where the Student Life Office is open, and we can use that resource.
so
You want to add, Casey?
yes, this is my last thing. So we are doing our best to make students succeed, you see. So it's your choice if you want it to be or not. That's why we'll be moving to the voting. Is there any question? We have 5 minutes
Time
for
left,
questions.
Caitlin, or no? Ooh, then our time is out, so we are running into questions.
I just wanted to say that I don't have an answer about whether or not we can spend that money on this event because of the way the proceeds work and the donations and that kind of thing. So I just wanted to be totally transparent and say that I'm working on finding an answer about whether or not this is a possibility. So, and whether or not I would be able to approve that given what the rules are about how we spend the money, so.
I just wanted to add too, I'm Erin, I work in the foundation office and talked with KZ and Kale about that, and I've been talking with Lina. Just wanted to give you a little history about why there was a $10,000 level a couple of years ago. That seems pretty high, right? Very impressive. That was because it was our 100th anniversary. So that was our gala, and we were charged to raise $1 million for that night. So the lowest sponsorship level that night was $10,000. So that's why it was that large. So we're taking a look at kind of what was done in the past and how that has been approved. Just wanted to be, like Lana said, transparent on all of that. So.
And I'm going to take that as a question just so I can explain. I set that amount of 10,000 because I knew we had around that much currently in our Student Alliance budget that we weren't able to find ways of spending on current students this year that I felt like was just going to go into rollover and not benefit students this year or next year. It's just going to be empty money not used. So that 10,000 money or amount I knew we could split up majorly from our budget and then make an extra allocation request for the remaining, which is how it's broken down on there. Any questions that we can answer for you about the event, about our breakdown, about our budget, why we're going forward with it? Yes, please. Anything's welcome.
It says 6 to 8 students in attendance. How do you determine who will be in attendance?
Great question. So we're getting 6 to 8 tickets depending on the type of sponsorship level we do. If we do the contingency plan, that's where we get the 6 tickets. If we're doing this 10,000 amount, we get 8 tickets. So we're going to bring in 8 student leaders to this event. We haven't exactly figured out choosing specific students. We want to make it the best students who are going to get the most out of this event are the ones going. So we don't want to just pick favorites. We'll probably work with Student Life to help us make these decisions. And Erin gave us a few suggestions that really help us. Any students that are who feel like who we feel like represents our institution well are perfect for these types of events because they're going to be working with donors, they're going to be working with scholarship recipients, and they're going to be talking about and representing GRCC in a positive way. So they're creating like community pride and that they're encouraging these new students who got scholarships and will be at this event to continue to succeed.
Any other question?
And when exactly was this event at?
It is,
When is it?
I believe it says March 27th.
Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah, March 27th. She goes my first guess.
And where is it held?
The Boss Place downtown.
Okay.
That. I think any of the students who want to go, I should not mention that until the end, but yes, we will try to get anyone who wants to go through a process to see that we're bringing anyone who's interested and bringing the best people who are interested.
Okay.
Any other questions that we can answer about this?
All right, so that means we are going to move to the voting. So who's going, I motion that we move to the voting. Who's going to second me? Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And I know Lana said that this is still, there's a little bit of communication error on just if this is going to work out. If we approve it and it ends up that we can't make this donation, the money will just go back into the extra allocation fund. So I'm sorry that I don't have the answer for you right now. I was planning a lot of this throughout the semester, so if this isn't going to work, it won't work. As Casey said, we got the motion to voting. So all those in favor of approving this extra allocation request, please raise your hand at this time. Will Tatum please count votes? It looks pretty unanimous. Otherwise, I see a few hands which are down, and those are either denies or standing out. Or sorry, what's a word there?
Abstain.
Abstain. Thank you, guys. It's been a long day. Thank you. All those not in favor of this request, please raise your hand at this time to give a vote of denial. 0. Everyone else is abstaining. Well, thank you. That completes all of our extra allocation requests that we had for today, so I won't bore you with any more numbers. Thank you for approving that request. I didn't want to keep talking about it because it's not fair, and I want to keep things fair when we're doing presentations. But this type of request is something that we talked about at previous meetings, or at least I felt like I was bringing up because it was on my mind, is that we have a lot of money in our extra allocation budget, and that bothers me because I don't want to needlessly spend this money on more conferences, on just putting money into events happening on campus. I think we, as all of the leaders on campus, should be thinking about how we can efficiently use this money and use it in meaningful ways. Right now, I'll be honest, I don't think we have the type of participation on campus to spend all of the money that we have. I don't think we have enough students going to all the events to spend all of the money on events happening on campus. We'll just be throwing events for no one's coming, or we'll be putting too much money into events where we really didn't need to make it successful. So that's where I see something like this really benefiting us, is that because it's going to become rollover either way, I feel like this is a wonderful opportunity to spend money in a way that will give scholarships to the next year. And if this is something that Student Alliance can somehow institutionalize or make sure that scholarships and this type of money is going towards students' completion, I feel like that'll continue to help future years. And it'll get rid of that sting of, we're spending money that was, unfortunately, this is unfortunate, that students are paying into the student activities fee to get events and stuff that help them while they're here. That's just the truth. And the money that we're spending on this event isn't necessarily going to benefit students immediately. We'll have the wonderful experience of meeting first years at ScholarFest, we'll bring leaders there, we'll have that experience, but it's not building scholarships for this semester. But if this is something we can institutionalize or something that Student Alliance does to improve the next year every year, then it kind of brings off a little bit of that sting. I just wanted to share that was on my mind. Next on our agenda, we just have a few follow-ups actually, and then we have club comments and discussion, and we're done. I was expecting that Psi Beta, I was expecting them to be here to give that presentation, so we're running a bit quickly. So I'll finish this off. Follow up on, I'm not going to follow up on the President's Forum yet. I was talking about that way too much at the start of this meeting. I got everyone involved. It ran into our time. Creating Connections Breakfast, I just wanted to mention it. Last week, Thursday, there was a really cool event hosted by the foundation where it was called Creating Connections. I don't know if any of you managed to make it. Actually, have any of you been to one of those breakfasts before? Because they host them basically yearly. And these breakfasts are where they bring in donors for the foundation, and they bring in winners of scholarships. They have a few specific students that came in, and they actually gave speeches at this breakfast. I thought it was a wonderful opportunity to meet students I haven't already met, because there were a few first-year students or students who are like in our culinary program that I don't get to interact with as much. And it was just a fantastic time to hear a personal story from a few different students, and then really hear about how the scholarships affected them in a positive way, and really is just going to change their lives and let them accomplish what they want to accomplish. And that just made it such a feel-good moment, wholesome event, felt good leaving it, and I just wanted to share that with you. And another thing that's on our radar, we had a brief meeting about it this week, and we're still trying to figure out where we want to move forward with this, is the International Student Scholarship that we've been kind of discussing within our e-boards. We're talking about how we can make or remove the barriers for international students when coming to the college and when staying at the college. So we want to figure out if there's anything else that we can do and what we can do to make the GRCC experience for better. I say it more general there, but we are talking about international students. We want to remove the barriers on international students. KZ could give you some wonderful examples, but I know a few of them that we've talked about at this time, which are international students have to pay way more on tuition than any of us. If any of you are out of state and you are paying more, I'm sorry, but I feel like the majority of us in here are in-state tuition, so we're paying like that 130, 170, whatever it is, amount. International students are paying way more than that, at least twice it. And they are having trouble getting jobs on campus or when they move here. So there's a lot of financial problems that moving to another country is going to bring you. That's pretty obvious. But we shouldn't be making it harder on international students to adapt and really grow while they're here. We should be trying to find ways to make it easier for them to become a part of our community and interact with everyone just like all of you are able to. I hope that if any of you are struggling financially, that the college is supporting you in a way that is meaningful to you, whether it's just getting a job in an office on campus, or if you're finding job postings on the bulletin boards and applying to those. I hope there are ways that you are supported even as a non-international student. But for our international students, it is a fact that they are struggling. They're struggling to handle the challenges of moving to a new country. And so it's been an ongoing conversation between me, KZ, and our e-board, and ISO, and the advisor of ISO, who's still here with us right now. We've been talking about how we can make either a scholarship or just resources or remove barriers on campus to make their entire experience better. That's a brief update on that. I felt like there were more things I wanted to touch on. Yes, Talia, absolutely.
No,
I was going to go right into club comments.
I take it back.
What?
I take it back.
You take it back?
Yeah. I just
Okay.
wanted to know, I don't think you can answer it, that's why. Like, I don't know if you're undocumented or your DACA, if you're paying international rate. No, you don't. Okay.
Yeah, I was going to agree with her, but I trust her answer more. I don't know for certain.
I was
All right. We're just going to do it. We're just going to go into club comments. I'm worried. You're all going to run out in a minute, and we're going to have so much food left over in the back, and I'm just going to have to throw it all away and then gossip to Tatum and say, like, all of these people won't eat our food. Yes, can we go on to club comments, and anyone who just wants to make an announcement, please do.
I was gonna say, as far as getting rid of the food goes.
They can't hand it off to other clubs.
No, I mean like, there could be different food. That's not just meatballs. Like if you're like me and you're like a picky eater who eats healthier food, I'm not gonna eat any of those meatballs.
All right.
So I mean, you could bring different foods.
Last time was donuts. We're on a really interesting track.
Less food, more variety.
Yes.
That sounds to be the smart.
Yeah.
Got you. He's the guy to talk about there. I'm already just like ribbing with something.
So what I've realized is that people will complain no matter what we are doing because, yes, in our last meeting, we had someone complaining about donuts, right? So this meeting, someone is complaining about meatballs. So what should we order now? Maybe it should be like a discussion topic in Student Alliance meeting so that we can see which food everyone wants us to bring here, right? So what would you, yes, what would you, what?
Buffalo dip.
Wings?
Yes. So who supports our friend there? We can go in a vote right now. Raise your hand if you approve Buffalo Dip for next meeting.
Don't act like you don't eat all of that. Why not?
All right, so we'll have buffalo something next. No, next meeting.
What about?
Look, man, you didn't put a suggestion forward.
Motion to bring vegetarian options to our next meeting.
Yes. I am vegan and gluten free.
Thank you. What type of option? Motion to discussion.
Water.
Water.
Second that.
Kale.
Celery, carrots.
Salad with like two dressing options.
Yeah, but
Dairy and non-dairy dressing option.
yeah. So we'll go first with buffalo something, then the
carrots,
vegetable
asparagus.
and what. So we are going to move now to the club comments, right? Yes, club comments. Is there anyone who has something to give us? We need some information from your clubs and anything. Do you have? Okay.
I just wanted to say that Standout did go to our conference this past weekend, and we had a lot of fun. And the entire club wanted me to come here and during this time say thank you all so much for approving that and for allowing us to go. We had a great time and we learned a lot, and we actually look forward to seeing a few of your faces to our club meetings in order to see what we brought back from it.
Any other club comments?
As far as food goes, you can never go wrong with pizza.
Really? We're going back?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can never go wrong with pizza. Just saying.
This is true.
Yeah, I support that.
All right.
I support that.
Seem a little defeated there, man.
I support that.
Anything else?
No, but it's still
I just have
pizza.
an announcement while we have an audience here. So you already heard a little bit about scholarships. If you're going to be a student here next year, make sure you apply for our GRCC Foundation scholarships. We award over $1.5 million in scholarships. The deadline to do that is March 15th, so that's in a couple weeks, I believe right after spring break. You can do that online, go to the financial aid website. So make sure you do that if you're going to be a student here next year, okay?
Thank you for that.
Student Alliance applications are open, so if you're gonna be a student here next year and you're interested in doing KZ's or Tatum's or Kale's or Caitlin's jobs next year, those positions are open and the application deadline is the week after spring break. If you go to the Student Life Facebook page, you can get the link there, or if you go to OrgSync, there are 3 like boosted posts at the top, and the one all the way on the left is the application and more information. But if you have questions about it, you could ask any of those 4 guys or myself, and we'd love to just talk you through it and talk to you about what is possible, that kind of thing. So please consider applying.
I can't emphasize that enough. Like, guys, it is a fantastic job that really lets you grow into a position or an organization, grow with an organization, I should say, to a way that really is like you as an individual. Like, I feel like me and my team have developed this into the best way that we wanted to make it more of a community and really have that personal connection with each club like we wanted, because we started last fall with a huge drop in club involvement and a huge drop in number of clubs retained. And I felt like the only way I was going to make that better is if I started building those personal relationships with every single one of you and having that connection, so that I knew when I was passing the torch on to the next president, they had connections that already existed, and I could prep them in the best way possible by just like getting accurate information for them, going back to a president's forum topics now at this point, by changing the organization in a way that makes it more conducive to clubs staying at the college and makes it easier for clubs to handle all of the requirements of being a club, stuff like that.
Yes, I'm going to add to that. So these positions are very, very good. And if you try them, you will benefit too much from them, because I feel like I'm not the KZ who came here 3 years ago here at GRCC. I feel like I can fly, you know. So that's why I'm telling you, try these positions, and I'm quite sure you'll never regret your decision. Yeah, so that's what I had to just add on what he said there. So
you're
Yeah.
curious to know like the requirements, the type of commitments you have to make for that, again, just talk to us, we'll talk you through it, figure out if it will work for you or not.
Yeah,
Any other club comments?
Yeah, I'm going to add something before club comment. So people think like we are like very, very busy. While we are not. You have your office hours. You are the ones who will make the time when you are available. You see, you are not required to be in the office at a certain time, but for only these meetings, that's where you are required to be. But you can make your office hours whenever you want. So don't feel like if you get these positions, you will be like very, very busy. No, it doesn't go that way. No, I have a few jobs and I handle all of them. And this one doesn't affect anything that I do. So feel free to apply for them and we'll be here to support you. Any other club comments? All right, so this is the end of our meetings. Feel free if you wanna sit here or and finish our food, or if you wanna just go. This is the end of our meeting. Thank you for coming. Have fun.